So I'm going to go through one of the main postural patterns I see in amateur golfers. Probably the most common one that affects how the individual rotates and how the individual can create consistency in their golf swing. This pattern, often referred to as C posture or a flexed upper back, tend to be very limited in mobility in something called their thoracic spine, or often known as T-spine. And put in a very simple manner, your T-spine is essentially the part of your spine that starts from the bottom of your neck and goes through sort of the middle of your back. So the best way of feeling this is if you used to touch your rib cage, you can feel kind of how your rib cage kind of moves around your upper body into your top. Your T-spine is essentially connected into that and is the main mover of trunk upper body rotation. For those who are limited in thoracic spine mobility, often comes from if you have an office-based job, a desk-based job where you do a lot of sitting, or a driving job, and you're often in a very forward rounded position, as we can see from side on. If I was to take this position and put it into a golf posture straight away, we can see how the upper body is extremely rounded in the setup, which means this limits how effective the individual can rotate, which then affects the club plane, because obviously how that upper trunk works with the lower body will then control the hands and arms a little bit. It also limits the arm structure at the top, so we might see people who arm positions are quite limited, so they have to use their hands in transition. And then probably one of the key ones is their hand path length, so basically how far they can get their hands back in the top swing, top of the backswing, which obviously limits then the ability to create clubhead speed. So if you are limited in thoracic spine mobility and are quite tight through golf posture patterns and as well as occupation, I'm going to give you a couple of exercises at the end of this video to go through that might help stretch out those muscles. But one thing that is really key is this can be a strength and stability issue combined with flexibility as well. So although these may help some people, others you may not see a big change in. Starting on an all fours position, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, we're going to simply try and pull our back into a rounded position, tucking the chin. So we're rounding out for 2 seconds. From there, we're then going to go into the opposite position where we're essentially arching the back, lifting the chin up, feeling like we're trying to push our abdominal muscles to the ground, squeezing our shoulder blades together, 2 seconds, and repeat. Dead bug position setup. Lie on the floor with your knees in line with your hip at 90 degrees. This is really important that we keep this position, so I'm not dropping them down here or lifting them in the air. So a 90-degree angle with my arms straight over my shoulder, and I feel like I'm pushing my lower back into the ground at all times. So you shouldn't be able to get your hand underneath your back because it should be straight into the ground. Keeping your setup position, thumbs facing out or forward. From here, we're going to slowly reach overhead until we get as far as we can or to the ground. The key is to keep both arms straight, so we're not flexing them. We're keeping them locked out, and the back does not lift or arch. Sitting on a chair or bench, put your feet and knees together, taking a golf club, place it across the back of your shoulder blades. Sitting tall and upright, we're going to rotate the chest and rib cage as far as we can one way, feeling like these knees do not separate. So we don't need to push this too hard. We're going to turn, and then from there we're going to simply bend our upper body down towards the ground. So you can see how the butt of the club here is pushing into the ground. So I've kept in rotation, now I'm side bending. Keep in that position. I want you to take 2 or 3 good deep breaths. Now rotate a bit more and tilt, side bend even further. Same thing. 2 or 3 nice deep breaths. And repeat. And keep repeating that motion until you feel like you cannot rotate or side bend any further. Come back to the beginning and go on the other side.